They fucking did it. They did it. Oh my god. Oh my god. Best Spider-Man ever.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Guys, Spider-Man Homecoming is directed by Jon Watts, director of Cop Car, if you've seen it. Honestly, I didn't even know who the guy was, but man, did he knock this shit out of the park. This movie has Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and he is the best Spider-Man, I think, honestly, hands down, but we'll get into that in a second. Anybody who's working in Hollywood is in this goddamn movie. We got Tom Holland, Michael Keaton in his third winged performance, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Childish Gambino, Hannibal Buress, Zendaya. Everybody's in this goddamn movie. And they all serve a purpose too. It's not very often where you get a movie with that many characters and they all actually have something to do in the movie. Now let's talk about Spider-Man. This is the best Spider-Man that, and not just as a movie, like the character Spider-Man, this is the best Spider-Man that we have ever gotten. Peter Parker is played perfectly. Tom Holland just knocks this shit out of the park. Everybody was complaining that he was so young to do Spider-Man. I was like, oh my god, he's a boy, whatever. But that's the best thing about Spider-Man. That is what Spider-Man is. He is a boy who wants to be a man. That's why his name is Spider-Man. And that's something that this movie touches on so well. This movie is all about, like, when you were a kid and your parents, they tell you, like, hey, enjoy being a kid, you know? Because when you start being an adult, then you're gonna be like, oh shit, I really wish I was a kid again. And they play that out so well between Spider-Man and Iron Man, because Spider-Man, he wants to be an Avenger. Ever since he went on that mission with Iron Man to go to the airport in Civil War, he has been wanting to be an Avenger and be a part of them, to be part of like the big leagues. And then Robert Downey's like, chill, you know, there's no need for you to be an Avenger right now, you know, keep stopping car robberies and armed robberies and like accident and little shit like that, because one day when some real shit happens, you're gonna really miss the days where you were just stopping some nigga from stealing someone's bike. This movie is one of the best written movies I have ever seen. It's 2.5 hours, and it is the fastest 2.5 hours I have ever been through. What I love about it too is like, we get a lot of Spider-Man in this movie. Like, he is in that suit for damn near half the movie, 3/4 of the movie, and you just love it, man. His suit is just so cool. It has all these different things it can do. It has different like web shooters and shit. You got web grenades. Oh, and the fan service in this movie is just amazing. Man got the web wings. He has spider tracers. Nigga, the Iron Spider suit. Oh my god. They even did us the damn service of putting Shocker in this movie. Another thing I love about this movie is how they show off like Spider-Man's weaknesses as well. We love Spider-Man in the city, you know, he's just going through skyscrapers, but they really do a good job of showing his weaknesses. He's like running through a neighborhood and he's like web swinging through the trees, but then eventually he gets to a spot and he slings his web as far as he can, and it just flies because he's in the middle of a golf course, and he's just like, shit, and then he just has to start running. And in another way, they just show like how like inexperienced he actually is at doing this. Michael Keaton as the Vulture is MCU's probably best villain since Loki, like hands down. He's not just some generic one-off villain like fucking Malekith. But Michael Keaton as the Vulture is great. You actually feel for his character. You understand why he's doing what he's doing, and it plays out in a really big way in the film at some point. Captain America in this movie. Captain America doesn't even have a big role. He's just in like these school videos, but I just find them so goddamn funny. There's one where he was like, so you got detention. Maybe you're trying to be cool, but take it from a guy who was in an icicle for 45 years. The coolest thing you can do is follow the rules. That shit was just hilarious. That shit had me dying. The movie itself is just really, really funny. And that's what keeps it going throughout most of the movie. You got the Spider-Man action sequences, which are the shit. That boat scene is so dope. He's just detaching webs left and right, jumping over his own webs and shit, throwing off web grenades and shit. It is so cool. Like I said, best Spider-Man ever. And that just takes me back to how well written this movie is. Like, the pacing is just so good. And it works so well because they blend the humor so well with the action scenes, and then the story itself, it just all brings itself together so well. Like, everything works in this movie, everything. I can't understand anybody that would walk out of this movie with a single complaint. I went into this movie expecting some Disney Channel, Nickelodeon bullshit, because like that's what it kind of looks like in the trailer. But at the end of the day, anybody can enjoy this movie. Anybody. You take your goddamn grandma. I remember when the first time I watched it, because I watched it 2 times this weekend. The first time I watched it, in the very beginning of the movie, the Marvel logo comes in, and then it has the Spider-Man theme song played, and like violins and shit. I turned to my friend and I was like, I can feel it. It is so good. Everything about this movie is good. I would say that when it comes to this movie versus other Spider-Man movies, and when I say other Spider-Man movies, I mean Spider-Man 2, because it's by far the best one. I think Spider-Man Homecoming tops it. Honestly, I really do. And I'm not knocking Spider-Man 2 in any way. I'm just saying why I feel like Spider-Man Homecoming may just be a bit more superior. Spider-Man 2 just has that little bit where it just slows down for a second, and which is good for the story. But Spider-Man Homecoming does that, but there's just so much humor intertwined into every single scene. It keeps you in there, it keeps you invested for every single minute that you're watching it. When you get so invested, it just makes things towards the end real. Like there's one scene, there's some shit going down and Peter has to pick himself up. He starts breaking down, he's like crying and shit, and you start to feel it, but then he like sees himself in the water. You know that like kind of famous picture where it's like half of Spider-Man's face and half Peter Parker. He sees that in the water and he remembers who he is, and he's like, come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man. And dude, shit is powerful. I was just like, The way I see it, man, is like, if I was a kid and this was my very first Spider-Man movie, I would lose my goddamn mind. Like, Spider-Man would be the best thing ever. Spider-Man Homecoming is an A+. We got War of the Planet of the Apes coming out this Friday, so I'm not gonna promise anything, so I'm gonna try and give you the other 2 Planet of the Apes prequels. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the shits, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can, spins away.